Welcome to Ditch Auto Unlocking Manual Photography. My name is Jared, and today we're going to talk about a tool that can help you see your images a little bit better. Now, there have been tools on the market for a long time that are typically called like a loop, something that you put on the back of your camera so that you can see that picture that you just took better. Now, over the last few years, I've been noticing that with these DSLRs, a lot of people are actually using live view even to take photos. They're not necessarily using the eyepiece to look through the camera and take their photo that way anymore. And I think it's just a sign of the times. You know, people that have never had a camera other than a digital camera, and maybe a lot of their earlier cameras was just had a viewfinder on the back, didn't actually have a EVF or an eyepiece. People are just used to looking at the back of a big screen instead of putting a camera up to their eye. And I've noticed with you know, older people, even myself, as I need glasses and I you know, it gets harder to see as I get older. My eyes are more sensitive to bright light. I found that having some sort of assistance definitely helps. Now, Zacuto makes this tool. This is called the Zacuto Z-Finder Pro, which is typically a video accessory for these DSLRs. Now, on the back of my camera, and I'll try to make this easy to see here, I have a little mount that Zacuto makes that using adhesive will adhere to the back of your camera. Now, there are other tools here that you can get to attach it. They have a bracket that you could put on the back of your camera that definitely secures it better than this adhesive mount on the back of the camera. However, the adhesive mount is the smallest one that stays out of the way. So basically what the Zacuto does is it mounts to the back of your camera, such as this, that just kind of snaps into place. Like that, and then it becomes, it basically turns it into a nice electronic viewfinder, which most people are used to on larger cameras like video cameras and whatnot. So I'm actually going to spin this around. Let's put it this way, the way that it would work for me, because I like to look through the camera with my right eye. Now what I would do is I would put my camera in live view, and I would actually hold the camera up to my eye here. This little piece I would take off, of course, and then I can hold the camera up to my eye like this, and I could see a nice high quality preview of what I'm seeing. Now, being that I recently switched to Sony, these mirrorless cameras don't have the typical eyepiece that we're used to on these DSLR cameras, where we're actually looking through the camera and out the lens. The mirrorless cameras have an EVF built into the eyepiece, which means you're seeing what the sensor sees. You're seeing basically what you would see in live view on a DSLR camera. So attaching this unit to the back of a camera gives us essentially that same effect. We're seeing that live view, which means when we make adjustments to our exposure using like our ISO or our f-stop or our shutter speed, we're able to see that live representation in the back of the screen. And then also when you take that photo, when you get that preview, you're able to really see it a lot better because there's a little bit of built-in magnification into this. I believe they have two different models with different levels of magnification. And so you're actually able to see the photo a lot better than you are when you're just with your naked eye looking at the back of your screen and there's glare and whatever else because you might be outside. So having this tool is fantastic. Now you don't have to have it attached all the time. As you can see, it's very easy to snap off. And then you know, you can attach like a little lanyard to it or something like that, or you could just slip it in your camera bag. It's very easy to just take this off and set it somewhere else. However, if you wanted to shoot with it all the time, you could. Like I said, this is mostly a film tool. Most video cameras were used to having a nice large EVF, and so being able to look through this and look right through the camera and see everything and see our zoom and our exposure and everything for what it is definitely added value in my opinion. So I use this a lot when shooting video. However, it's extremely useful when shooting photos as well. The only thing that will feel a little unnatural is the fact that this does extend out your camera a little bit, makes it a little bit bigger, and it's a little bit lower on the camera. So, but what it does do is you'll see you're almost looking straight through the barrel as opposed to looking up here and the barrel of your lens is a little bit lower. So you're almost looking exactly on the same plane as the photo that you're going to be taking. So for me, this has been an interesting kind of experiment on trying this when shooting photos. On extremely bright days, I definitely like to use a tool like this because it helps with my eyes. My eyes get tired. You know, a lot of bright light over time can lead to, you know, your eyes just getting a headache. I have polarized sunglasses, but then that makes it hard for me to see the image on the back of my screen because the polarized lenses counteracts what you can see on the back of the screen. It makes it look really dim. So using a tool like this is definitely an option. So if any of those frustrations has ever plagued you, then this is definitely something you can try. You can rent these if you wanted to give it a try and see if it's something that you could find useful. You could definitely rent these. They're, I believe, around $300, I think, depending on the model that you get. And then there are different brackets to hold them onto your camera. I chose this adhesive one because I wanted something minimalistic. However, if you are not careful, you could definitely take the adhesive right off. So you have to be careful when removing it. However, they do make brackets that hold this in place that are much more stable for those of you who might be using this as a constant fixture on your camera, who are planning to make this a part of your camera. And then there's this nice little back plate here that you could put on to protect it. One of the things you're going to want to be careful to do if you are using this is to avoid direct sunlight through this onto the back of your screen. Keep in mind there's magnification happening here. Sunlight traveling through here, being magnified, could damage your screen a little bit. So you want to be very careful when having this here. That's why I have this attached, and it even has a little warning on the back of it just to remind you to put this back in its place when you're not looking through it. Or make sure that it's pointed down towards the ground so that the sun isn't shining down into it. So definitely a neat little tool. I'll provide links to this in the description below this video. If you want to talk more about this, head on over to our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/ditchauto. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time on the Ditch Auto Podcast.